Thank you for your patience. Have got a lot going on this morning with a variety of things, but nonetheless, we had a good bye week. I think last week the 2 or 3 developmental practices that we had were as good of developmental practices as we've had since I've been here. I also apologize for the loud music in the background. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Anxiously awaiting our new team room to be built to where we won't have to deal with the weight room noise and all that, and we can actually meet and have some press conferences the appropriate way. But really happy with the way the guys responded last week. Coaches got out, had a good 2 days of recruiting. Back to work yesterday. Had a great practice last night. We'll treat yesterday like a Tuesday. We'll treat today like a Wednesday practice, moving forward to Thursday's game, to where we have a full game week after the bye week. I think health-wise, we're in as good a shape as we've been all year. The bye week was good for those guys, guys that have lingering injuries this time of the year, which that exists on every team across the country. We used it to our benefit and had everybody practicing yesterday. So I think we're in a good place right there. I think we're, just as far as the team's mentality, I think we're going to be ready to play. I know we're anxious to do our absolute best when it comes to finishing the year the appropriate way. I know we've lost a couple in a row right here. Guys aren't happy with that. Anxious to get out there on Thursday night and play. Got a huge task ahead of us. Kansas State is a very, very, very solid team, loaded with upperclassmen, a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors, a lot of guys that have been in their program for, not only 2 years with some of their junior college guys, but they got a lot of former walk-ons and program guys from when Coach Snyder came back. After taking a few years off, he came back, and he's had guys that have been in the program 4 and 5 years now, and it really shows on film. These guys know what to do. They're sound. It means a lot to them. They play hard. They're mentally and physically tough. They're going to be physical. They're well coached, work hard, blue collar guys that are extremely productive, extremely efficient, and extremely sound with what they do. With them offensively, their quarterback's playing well. Waters, he's been in their program for 2 years now. He's playing really well. He's extremely efficient. The thing that stands out with Kansas State, and they were like this last year too on offense, I think Dana Dimmel's doing a great job for them. And they've had some staff continuity there going on for 5 years. But they're just really efficient. They don't turn the ball over. They don't do anything to hurt themselves. They don't have many negative plays. Their third down efficiency is really good. Their red zone efficiency is really good. They're just an efficient outfit on offense. I think Lockett, 16, is one of the best players in the country. He hurt us last year. He's hurt a lot of people over the last couple of years. Just a true program guy that does things the right way. And is productive on the field as well. One of the better offensive lines that we're going to face, they're all juniors and seniors. Their center is a great player, but they just do a lot of things up front that poses a bunch of problems. So got our work cut out for us defensively. Them defensively sound. They're not going to trick you. I mean, they're going to be just incredibly sound in what they do. They're a play off you, keep everything in front of you, let you guys screw it up outfit that will, just play hard and be very, very, very technically sound. It's the same defense that we've seen out of them for the last couple of years, so nothing's new. That's not the problem. Trying to figure out what they do is not the problem. Trying to effectively attack it is definitely a challenge. As you can imagine, sound in the kicking game, everything that they do with the program is sound. Biggest thing that stands out is obviously Lockett, just with the return game. And I've said this to y'all and everybody else on special teams. It's not always about the returner. It's not always about the kicker. It's about the other 10 guys that that are on that specific unit, and they do a great job of coaching those other 10 guys up. And then with the dynamic guy like him, we're going to have to our cover units are going to have to be sound as well. Senior night, last thing before I take questions. Senior night is obviously special. It's an odd class. We got 19 guys that go through senior night. Of the 19 guys, only 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken, I think 5 of them are fifth-year seniors. 1 is a fourth-year senior, and then we got 10 transfers. Okay, 13 of the 19 are transfer guys. So there's just not very many guys that have been in the program for 4 and 5 years. I think we had to get some 4-year guy transfers. We had to get some junior college transfers to come in and increase the talent, which I think we've accomplished that, and to get the numbers to where they're healthy as well, and I think we've accomplished that. So, we'll talk about these guys with their last game tonight here in Thursday night in Morgantown. Then we'll talk about it again next week with their last regular season game, and then we'll talk about it during the bowl game as well. So certainly appreciate everything they've meant to the program. So with that, we'll take some questions.
Mentioned last week that guys were getting a little rundown, particularly for the offensive linemen at like 900 snaps this year. And did you notice a difference coming back last night? Did you see guys looking fresher with the time off they got? Yeah. A lot of the guys last week I thought we had a very productive week with the developmental people. Okay, and the older guys went out there on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They got some good lifts in, which helps in their recovery. It helps with blood flow and healing. There just wasn't all this stuff, with the pounding of the pads. So they went out there and did a bunch of individual stuff. Spent a lot of time down in the weight room, a lot of time in the indoor with Mike Joseph, just stretching and a lot of recovery stuff. A couple of days off does wonders for you. So yeah, not only the linemen. You take guys like Russell Shell and Wendell Smallwood who have been banged up, have played a lot of snaps. Those guys came back in a better place as well. Gave you guys too much information. Nobody's got questions, huh? On the conference call, Coach Snyder was talking about how 3-3-5 was difficult to prepare for. Obviously, you guys like it because of the versatility, what it does for Big 12 offenses. Is there kind of an inherent value and also the odd nature of it that maybe people don't see it that much and have to prepare for it?
Yeah, I think there's probably something to that. I definitely think so. And hopefully nobody else starts doing it. It's unique. I've always wanted to be multiple with the defense, which we've had this conversation a bunch. Obviously, Gibby's put his own little spin on it, which has a lot to do with his past and what he's been a part of. So it is different. I like the versatility of it. We practice against it every single day, so it's a little easier for me to understand what's going on a little bit. But it is as an OC calling plays against a variety of defenses, it makes it a little trickier to be able to figure out where all those bodies are. Again, going back to Kansas State, I can locating where their bodies are and what their plan is not hard. They're just so sound with their technique and their effort and their physical nature. That's what makes that defense hard to prepare and hard to play against.
What's your feeling on the fact that early in the year you were throwing for 500, 400, 300 yards, and the last 3 games it's been below 300 yards? Is it what they've done defensively than what you've done?
Well, I think our opponent, we talked about this the other day, the last press conference, I believe, but the opponent has something to do with that. TCU is pretty good, and defensively they don't give up very much in the pass game. Well, the only team better than them at that in the Big 12 is Texas. I mean, Texas doesn't give up any yards, in the pass game. I mean, they're just good at it. They see it a lot. They've seen it a lot. They recruit at a very high level. They know they have good athletes with good schemes and good coaches. So yeah, that's going to make it harder for a team that is not throwing the ball 90% of the time to get chunks and chunks of pass yards. So I think the opponent is the biggest thing that has to do with that.
mentality of this team different with 5-game losing streak in 2012, 6 out of 7 last year? I mean, do you think the mentality of this team is different, that can be avoided by them not getting down on themselves?
Yeah, I think the upperclassmen, I think that's going to play a big part in it. I mean, we do have, some guys that I think want to win, and I think our locker room's good and our state of mind is good. We have, next year's senior class is going to be a whole different discussion. I think the 30-some seniors we have next year, the majority of them, a high percentage of them, have been in the program for 4 and 5 years. So, that's what Baylor's got going right now. That's what TCU's got going right now. It's what Kansas State's got going right now is a situation where they've had that stuff intact for a long time. So we're getting there. It's going to take another year before we're totally at that place. But even with that said, a lot of those juniors like Carl and KJ and Kyle Rose, Kwiatkowski, Jordan Thompson, it means a lot to those guys, and I think they're going to give it everything that they got. Our health is a whole lot better than it's been, for a variety of reasons. I think Mike and his staff's done a great job. We do have better depth to where we're not playing a ton of people, but a year ago at this time, 2 years ago at this time, our injury report looked a lot different than it does right now. So I think we're in a totally different place. With that said, we play the number 11 team in the country. They're a good opponent. The opponent has something to do with it.
A lot of people know about Kansas State and the way they recruit a lot of junior college guys, kind of a unique way that they are able to play well year in and year out. You kind of see that your team is somewhat similar to them in the sense that you've gone the JUCO route the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think so. I've seen an influx in the junior college recruiting in the last 5 years. Kansas State's been doing it at a very high level for a long time, and their success is by still having a ton of program guys. The fact that we have downstairs 128, 130 guys that are in the program at this point as opposed to 90 makes it a little bit different to be able to have our developmental practices and prepare these guys. You look at their roster, I mean, they got some junior college guys mixed in clearly like they always have, but the majority of their guys are program guys that are making a difference, like Lockett and like Ryan Mueller, I mean, and Travis Britz, and those guys. Those guys are program guys that just play their tail off, and it means a lot to them because they've been on campus for 5 years. So, yeah, I think there's some similarities, and I think we're getting to that point where we got a lot of 4 or 5 year guys, and then we're always going to mix in some junior college guys. I doubt next year or the year after that we're going to have 68% of our senior class transfers like it is this year, but that number will continue to go down, but we'll always have to fill a void, fill a need with the transfer guy, whether it's 4 year or 5, whether it's a 4-year guy or a 2-year guy.
Does Jake Waters remind you of Colin Klein at all, and the patience in the run game?
Well, a little different body type, Water. They're both athletic. I mean, Colin Klein was just a smart, headsy player that was big, and people say he couldn't throw the ball very good, but he completed 95% of his passes out here against us 2 years ago. But they both can run the ball. They're both athletic. Waters just keeps getting better and better. Just a tremendous competitor. Is develop a rapport with their guys. You can tell by how they play to where it's the efficiency is the same.
You mentioned that what they do now offense is kind of a mashup of what Snyder's done and what people do now. Is that why Waters works? Because he can spin around, he can run a little bit too.
Yeah, he's mobile. I mean, they do a lot of quarterback run game. I mean, they do some things where he's the only option, where they're just going to flat out snap it to him and he's going to run it. But they do some different things. They do some unique things in the run game with the quarterback that poses problems. You got to account for him. But then he still can throw the ball, and he's got some pretty quality receivers. I tell you, the other guy, 14, Sexton, that guy's a heck of a football player as well. So he's got some weapons that he can throw to. They pose problems. There's no doubt.
First thing that comes to your mind regarding Coach Snyder and success?
It's amazing. It really is. I've talked at length about that in here with him. I mean, he's the most respected guy in our profession, bar none. Just does it the right way. It's developing a culture that of good family values and program guys work hard, develop depth, means a lot to them. They play the right way. They do the right thing. They don't beat themselves. I could go on and on.
Talk about those program guys in Kansas State and how it means a lot to them. I would think that Clint's transfer over here was a little bit different than a lot of transfers that you would have because he did have the history with the program and all of that, and so he didn't. I mean, he was bought in years ago before he even came here. How was maybe his situation different than other guys who, he knew so much about the program coming in and meant so much to him? You didn't have to teach him the ways or the ropes.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason why we're winning some games is because it means so much to him, So, the thing, it still took. With that said, I mean, he just got here in August, so it took him a while to be able to be on the same page with coaches, and he had a couple of buddies from way back when, but still he didn't know 90% of the team. So that still takes time in order to get accomplished, But yeah, it's good because it does mean a lot to him, and he understands what it means to the people of West Virginia and the support, and he gets all that. He's been around it, and it's been good to have him down in the locker room where he can kind of spread the word a little bit as well. So we're going to continue to try to recruit some West Virginia kids to be able to be in the locker room, to be able to spread the word as far as what it means growing up to be a Mountaineer.
When you look at the last two games, were there any common themes, or were they completely different? Kansas State games?
Our games with them? Well, we screwed it up in the fourth quarter last year. We screwed it up in the first quarter a couple years ago. They're obviously a different team. This year they're more like they were 2 years ago. With a lot of their guys, and they were a heck of a football team 2 years ago. And they're a heck of a football team right now, too.
Does it help having gone through it? I mean, you've talked at length about how many top 10, top 20 teams you've faced. Does it help at this point in the season having gone through it as many times as you guys have?
Yeah, fifth top 15 team this year. So, the fact that it's a big game, national TV, it's going to be a great atmosphere. We're going to be the only game on. We know everybody's going to be watching. We're playing a quality football team. They've won a bunch of games. It's important for them to win as well. I think we're probably used to it. Now, does it help? Does it help in getting the victory? I don't think it helps in getting the victory because they're used to it too. It's going to be a challenging game. I think our guys are going to be ready to play. I don't think it's a quote-unquote too big of a game for us to handle because, yes, we've done it a good bit here this year, and that's what the Big 12 is all about. I've said it 100 times. Everybody's disappointed that we didn't win a couple of weeks ago. Well, we're going to have another opportunity in a couple of weeks, so that opportunity is here in about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, there could be a bunch of ways to interpret what you said. I think it might have been after the game with calling plays to protect your quarterback, right? Was that just within that game? Has that been something the past couple of weeks? Is it handoffs, quick throws? What was the?
Well, yeah, and again, when you have a defensive front that gets after it like those two teams did, we got to be careful with how we call plays, how we protect him. I mean, that's no different than any other team I've been on with a quarterback that you need to be able to protect. I mean, he's our starting quarterback, and we don't have a very experienced backup, so you better be careful in protecting them. I think everybody tries to protect their guys. So we try to figure out what Clint can do right. His best attribute as far as being a quarterback is understanding what we're trying to do with the ball and make it happen.
Anything special with senior night as far as having seniors speak to the team the night before?
Oh, yeah, we usually do that, but that's not this game. That's more bowl game. We're going to have this. This is the last home game for the seniors. It's special. Then there's the last road game for the seniors. That's pretty cool, too. And then there's the bowl game for the seniors, which is truly their last game. So, whatever it takes to spin it to where they play good.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.